Okay, we're now recording.
Okay, well, welcome everybody to the January 11th Festival of Chimes and Lights Committee meeting. Because Public Works is here with us today, we're going to get started on some information that has come in recently, I think, and just double checking with Public Works on how everything is going downtown. Is Susie? Susie is your name? Susan?
Sorry, I'm here. I just had to unmute myself.
Okay. So can you give us just a little update on what's been done downtown and where we're at?
So it seems like we just have a few trees that are still decorated downtown. So Bill was working on getting the rest of that stuff down. But as far as like Christmas lights and the Christmas tree, everything is taken down. And we're pretty much done for the most part, de-Christmasizing.
I know. I drove through town the other night and went, oh, I miss it so much.
Me too.
It was beautiful. So something that just came up today is where the trees went. So Public Works did not take trees down, right?
So one block, it seemed as if the people found themselves responsible for the tree. So they took one block, whoever, not us, but the owners of the tree, whatever trees we're taking up to our decamp station, and then we're throwing them in the chipper to be chipped up.
Okay. Okay. And that is something I just wanted to double check on because if the trees were being taken down, how are people getting their cords back if they had extension cords? Did they just?
Well, the trees, the block that the people took the Christmas trees down, they took their own cords, and then whatever was our cords, they just rolled up in a roll and then hung them like on the flag where you would mount like the flags there. So me and Bill just walked the whole block and just grabbed our extension cords.
Okay. So you knew which ones were yours?
Well, we assumed they were all ours since they were just hung up there. I mean, I would assume that if someone's coming to take their Christmas tree down, they would take their extension cord unless they leave it behind on accident. But we wouldn't know unless they call and say, hey, we accidentally left our cord. So, yeah.
So, no, that's not exactly right because, you know, Public Works had to plug those in, and a lot of those cords are not accessible. Even when I had a step stool down there, just when on one of the trees we decorated, you couldn't reach it. And I know that just for our tree, and this was something we wanted to talk about with Public Works, is we needed almost 30 feet of cord to be able to plug in one of the trees that I decorated down there. So I talked to Bill about that, and that's something we're going to have to work out for this year, is making it clear how much cord is needed for each spot, because that's just one of the little things that didn't work out quite right. It was last year, I recall, that we asked people to provide cords, and then this year, No, my mistake. We originally started out with asking people to provide cords, and then a lot of the cords coming in weren't suitable for outdoors. So then I think that Public Works supplied most of the cords. Bill would know most of this information. But
yeah, I mean, we handed them out as people were decorating trees and didn't have enough, or it wasn't long enough. And if we had the extension cord, we provided the extension cord if we had it.
Okay.
So I know they have the mounted, like the landscaping extension cord, like up on the actual marquee where there's like 3 outlets and it goes down, but that is still not enough. So I'm not sure. I can take the concern back to Bill, but I know that this morning when we were talking about that, he said something along the lines, if we have to provide really long extension cords with multiple plugins, he's just hoping that there's enough budget this year to buy enough extension cords to provide that for the city and the people that are purchasing the trees.
Okay. You know what? Are you Tuesday? Am I speaking to Tuesday, or did I or Susie? I didn't hear the name right in the beginning.
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
Yeah, okay, well, I know who you are.
Yeah.
You were down there with Bill, and so you are really familiar with all of what was going on.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Tuesday, I think that's really something that we're going to need is clarifying that for next year. Because, like on the south side of the street, one of the trees kind of near, and you may remember, kind of near the carpet place, not too far from the theater, that's where we needed a cord that was over 20 feet long, I believe.
Yeah, I
So
remember because we had to swing by your house and pick up that extension cord. Yeah.
yeah. So, what we'll probably need this year is to figure that out and put in our budget what cords we need, and the lengths. That's something we had on our agenda today, is figuring that out. Um,
Okay.
and maybe there was no other place except that one area that needed something like that. I'm not sure, Tuesday. I'm just not sure. But I think it would
Now
be,
there's
yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was just gonna say I think there was a couple more spots on the other side over there by Josephine's too. We were having a lot of issues with
Okay.
trying to find the plug and getting the icicles plugged in,
Mm.
and then not plugging too many into each other. So
Yeah.
it's not just that block, but it was pretty much all of downtown. So
Okay. So that's a good
yeah.
project for this year, is to
Okay.
figure out, and if we need to move planters a bit, where they're going to be. And that's something that Janine and I have talked about too, is, from the get-go, we lost a planter. It was just damaged and broke apart. So we're less than the 58 planters that we originally started out with. So we must really be down to, I think, Janine, aren't we down to 56 now? Because we took one out, and I think we had one number too many from last year.
I believe so, yeah.
Slowly but surely, these planters are kind of breaking down, they're getting so old. But we talked about also getting them permanently numbered. All I do, you guys, is, I write on duct tape, and then just put it on there. And we noticed this year some of the tapes got moved, and we actually ended up with planters out of order on the north side of the street. And so
may I make a suggestion, because I think Bill brought this up this morning too at our meeting.
yes, please.
He said he thinks that the best way, this is his idea amongst other people, the
Okay.
best way to mark those without actually marking the planter, he said, would be maybe doing it on the beams there, like, the numbers on each side of the pole there. That way no one's messing with the duct tape and sticking that on other planters. Because he said the same thing you said, where people were moving duct tape and then, so that's what he thought would be the best solution as far as getting that. He didn't say, like, obviously it wouldn't be duct tape, but whatever you guys decided to put on either side of the beam, that would dictate the number of the planter. That way, because they said sometimes people pull up too close and knock the planter, or people, push it under, out to where it's going to get rain, their flowers or whatever, the tree's going to get rain. So he said they're constantly getting moved around.
Sure. That's a really good suggestion. So
Yeah.
what we'll have to do, and maybe Tuesday, maybe what you guys can do, I don't know, is get an idea and chalk the various places where you think the planters should be. And then Janine and I especially can be working on what would mark those, how we can do it in a way that doesn't look too goofy.
Yeah, it looks too temporary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I chime in?
Yes.
This is Chris with Public Works.
Okay,
I'm
Chris.
actually right along Bay Street right now. I'm looking at some of the planters right at the corner of Sydney and Bay Street. So I kind of follow up. I'm going to have to go with what Bill is saying. If we move most of these planters over towards basically the areas where all the poles are, we can easily mark each pole with duct tape or whatever, however we want to decide to mark these poles.
Okay.
Because I know that we have a few of these planters that are like over by the edge of sidewalk over by Frederick, and so
Yes.
we can move those around so they can be just kind of covered in an area where it's actually markable.
Okay, so Chris, you're saying get rid of the planters on the four corners there that are not lit?
Yes.
Yeah, and what we can maybe come up with is something to decorate those corners. But I hear you, because you know what? It really makes a difference going down the street and not having lit trees. You know, it creates such a big dark gap at night, and you know, we have so little light this time of year. So that makes sense. And then distributing those, Sandy's got a suggestion here too.
Yeah, you know, you can get lights that literally have a remote that you can set to come on at the same time every evening. We had a friend made a decoration in my yard, this huge star. She gave it to me as a gift and literally taught me how to set it. And every night at a certain time, the lights came on automatically, and then they went off at a certain time.
But Sandy, we don't have power there. That's our problem.
But you don't need it. They're batteries.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we've had several trees down there.
Oh.
No, the lights are really dim. So I know that Kitsap Transit had one, a battery lit tree on the corner kind of by the bike
Didn't
shop.
work?
They got really dim and you couldn't see them. And
Oh, that's too bad.
yeah, I think
My star was brighter than the lights on my porch. It was really bright. I don't know what she used, but
yeah.
we used something that was really bright. And if it's something that we're going to have to take responsibility for, we could kind of play with it and experiment next year on something.
Well, see what Chris is suggesting is that we just move the planters all underneath by the beams.
Oh.
Because, you know,
Do we have room for that? We have room for that.
well, we have some big gaps, kind of like by Myrie's, where Myrie's used to be.
Okay. That's a better idea. Yeah.
Well, for now, just so that everything can be powered, that would be one way of doing it until we do something different with our.
I misunderstood. I didn't hear that. So.
Oh yeah. We have
All right.
and
But
they get
I tell
moved
you, girl,
around.
those lights on that star were brighter than lit up the whole neighborhood. I don't know what she used, but it was fabulous. I didn't have to turn them on and off the whole season. It was
Wow.
wonderful.
Well, I know that one of those displays on the corner, Sandy, had a battery operated light on the CB, the bank one.
Oh, uh-huh.
And it was good for several weeks, and then towards the end, yeah. So,
Yeah.
but one thing I'm asking Chris, if you're still on here, and Tuesday, if we move those planters, here's the problem for the event, or if it's like that all year round, if we lose those planters from the four corners, then we lose flowers in an area that's very pretty in the summertime. Do you know what I'm saying? Those four corners are kind of empty.
Yeah.
So it suits us for chimes and lights, but it doesn't suit us for the rest of the season. So what do you think? Just moving them for chimes and lights then? What do you think?
It could be something we can work out. Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of hesitant on moving the planters around.
Yeah, I hear you.
They've been very frail lately,
Yeah.
and we've taken out, I know of at least one this year, or 2020.
Yes.
So, yeah, as far as moving them around, not so keen on that.
Yes. Tuesday, chime in here.
I'm kind of with Chris on that, just because we don't want to jeopardize. I don't know if the city is willing to budget and maybe buy more of those planners to solve that for the summertime. But that's pretty much all I got.
Yeah. Whoa. Well, I think we actually need something on those corners. Given that we have those empty lots right there. So as far as, they may just have to have their own numbers over there, you know, but I think we shouldn't lose those corner ones. I think they add an awful lot to the town, and I hear you, that the planters are not so moving them around isn't going to work very well. But we can also, with what we have, distribute them more evenly along the street. And then we can work on the map. Janine can get those numbers. And we'll number them a little differently now where we don't have, you know, 58 and whatever. We can get those numbered better. But, you know, these are all just, these aren't huge, huge problems. They're just little bugs that we have to work out before next year. But Public Works, was there anything else that you would want to have done differently?
Not that I can think of. I think, you know, for everything that happened this year, not being able to do the, you know, the big tree lighting with people there, I think that the decorating and the budget for the lights was good. And yeah, I just am a little upset Rockwell didn't hold out. Yeah.
It was just beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. All of the decorations around City Hall. And I'm hoping that this next year we will be able to have gatherings and have a little more traditional event. But there's no, for sure, you know, we can see that. One thing is the trees ended up being taken out of planters and you didn't do it. I'm wondering if that's a problem, if we need to have a little bit of a rule change on that. My understanding is somebody did take the trees and then, but another person asked about the trees, what was going to happen with them afterwards. And I think that we're probably going to have something set up that I just don't think people should come and take trees, probably, right?
Well, I think, well, I don't know, because it does save us a lot of work here in the city. If they, I mean, you figure if you purchase the tree for $50, and they want to haul it and do whatever they want to do with it, you know, after it's all said and done, you guys say, you know, hey, you guys got to have your decorations off by this day, blah, blah, blah. Because I don't believe that they pulled them super early. I think they just pulled them one day before Friday. So they just took them that Thursday after they were done decorating them. So that was something else Bill had mentioned, was if we could make it more so their responsibility to take care of the tree, that would save us you know, an immense amount of work on our end trying to haul them away. Don't know how you feel about that, but thought I'd bring it up since we're here.
Right. That's something we'll have to check with. Part of my understanding is part of the price of the tree included the removal. Is that right, Tuesday? You asked, is Bill near you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I've never read, like, you know, what the actual rules are for buying the tree and decorating it and take it down. I've never seen anything like that. So as far as I know, Bill has told me over the years, we do take the trees down. So this was fairly new to us when we went to go, you know, drive down Bay Street and see who's, you know, how many trees are still decorated, yada, yada, yada. And then that whole block was already taken down. I was like, oh, well, there goes, you know, that little bit of work for us. That's nice. So it was just something that, you know, we thought we would bring up. And if it can happen, it can happen. If it can't, it can't.
So the condition of the trees, I'm wondering, this is a little bit separate. I was in University Place last night and also in Paulsbo this weekend, and they still have all of their Christmas decorations up, and both places were buzzing with people. So I think that's something that the committee can be working on this year. Is we had already extended 1 week and leaving the trees up and some of the lighting. We may want to consider allowing the lighting and some of the trees to stay up even if they aren't decorated. The town looks very bare now, and I thought that the green trees, the trees are still in good shape. Is that your understanding too, Chris and Tuesday?
Yeah, they were in pretty good condition still.
Yeah.
Right.
So they could have stayed up several weeks longer if need be, undecorated, say.
Correct.
Another thing I'm wondering is, could we leave the icicle lights up longer downtown? What do you think about all that?
I mean, I I personally like the idea because I'm huge into Christmas. I like the way that it, just it helps with just like, the city morale and just driving through there. And so I personally like that idea. But that's my personal opinion on that.
Okay, I think as a committee, we're going to work on this year some of the logistics of that, of leaving the icicle lights up longer, so Public Works, you wouldn't be taking them down immediately afterwards. And whatever you guys know about needing to remove things, or your schedules, or liability, or any of that, that's the kind of thing we'll want, especially for our February meeting. Hear from you about what works and doesn't, because I almost see leaving some things up longer, although maybe not have the trees decorated. There may be a point of that they can be undecorated, but leave them in their planters, and then have a date when trees could be removed. But see, I'm almost sure that we have the pricing including the removal of the trees. So we've got to rethink that a little bit. And also, we can't have people pulling trees out without Public Works involved.
Okay.
I feel very strongly about that, very strongly. That
Okay.
it's not cool, and I understand you want to save work. That's all good for me, but we need to have a date so that people can't just start taking trees out of those planters for lots of reasons. Liability, if they, for some reason, the cords and all of that kind of thing. But I need to hear from you, Public Works, and Bill, I can't wait to hear Bill's take on this too, do we want to have it that Public Works collects the trees and then people can have the choice of taking them? Or are we going to allow individuals to go ahead and remove a tree after a certain date, but not before?
I can tell you what Bill's opinion is on that. Just
Okay.
I know that he really likes people, taking the trees themselves. Obviously within the parameters of whatever the deal is with, you have to leave the tree up till like January 12th, no removal
Sure.
before then. And if there's some kind of special circumstance, to at least call us and let us know what's going on. But I know that's what he talked about this morning. He likes that. I don't really, so that's Bill's take on it.
Okay, Sandy's got something to say too.
And yeah, I can see how that would be a big help. For groups like ours, we're Solonists,
Yeah.
all women.
Yeah.
Removing a tree, we would have to get a truck and remove, if, in other words, you have to put that piece in there. Would that limit some people getting a tree? If we
Oh, no.
if
Sandy, I think what we do is we have the option of people being able to take it,
okay,
but our price will always include hauling it.
Okay, cool. That's good. That's what I thought you heard. And then when I was listening to more to the conversation, I'm like, wait, is there going to be an option that we don't want to remove the tree?
Right. And I think most people don't. And people wanted to know that it would be put to good use. All I'm saying is we want to have some control of when the trees start disappearing.
Right. Okay. Thank you for that clarification. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And Public Works, I can certainly understand why if somebody wants those and is going to make good use of them, that it helps you guys. That makes sense to me too. I just think though, that to have trees start disappearing before we're ready for that. And, I happened to see on Facebook where the trees went. So there's a little forest downtown. And I'm sure that the trees are being put to good use. You understand where I'm going with this, right? You do. Because what happens if there's more than one entity that would like the trees? And I don't think that all the trees just went to the people that bought them. So I'm just trying to find an orderly way of dealing with this, because this was such a success. Can we just start and say, it was beautiful. I'm so pleased with that all the trees got adopted. The town looks so wonderful. The city hall couldn't have looked better. And then we had the port and Kitsap Bank and so many businesses working so hard, and it was fabulous. Especially given that we're in such a gloomy times, right? All I'm wanting is an orderly process and what works for everybody.
So could we say, if we figure out some way that we're going to be numbering or somehow marking each planter,
Yeah.
See, I'm not sure the process of when it comes to getting one of the trees, but if there's like a block that we can add on there, say, hey, please, or I would like to keep my tree, or
Yes.
I would like the city to take care of it. That could
Yes.
be that simple.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Like
Yes.
Yeah.
So that could at least verify that, hey, these people actually want to take care of their trees, or
Yes.
that the city will dispose of it how we dispose of it.
Yes.
And then from that point on, we could just figure out from there. And as far as the time frame, I guess with the committee trying to decide when's the right day, we can give the ones that wanted to keep the trees, give them like another week or 2 weeks that it just stays up until they do it. If not, we'll have to get rid of it ourselves.
Sure. Very good suggestion. And that's why we like this dialogue, is finding out what works for you guys. Yes, Janine, when we do our next application, we will have a few more guidelines on there. See, we're learning as we go, and things change, and who knew that people would have an interest in these trees? So yes, if they have an interest and if they safely remove them, no worries. That's cool if it's saving you guys work. But we have to build into our price that, like Sandy was saying, there's quite a few groups that don't want the tree. And they want to make sure that they aren't responsible for trying to get rid of it. But if one group wants a whole bunch of them, which seems like what has happened this year, is one party took most of them. We have to have some guidelines about when the trees should go away and that kind of thing. And plus, also for Public Works, we don't want to have it that you've got 3 trees left, that you were supposed to get rid of and you didn't even know when, so just guidelines. So this input has been fabulous. So I think the takeaway is we'll work on the numbering system. We like your ideas of the beams, but I think we do need to leave planters on the corners especially the summertime. And if we're not moving them, we'll work this out with numbering. Janine's going to redo a map for us, and we need to have some of those planters filling in the gaps, kind of in the Myries areas. We had a whole bunch crammed into the area on the north side of the street, near the market. We need to get those evened out a bit. But anyways, we're working on all this, and we'll all work together. We don't want to make more work than we need, but we also need, like Tuesday, that's a great project for you guys, is figuring out those extension cords and what's safe.
Okay, we'll work on that.
Yeah, and Tuesday, why don't we work on the city, our committee, trying to make sure that we have the cords we need and maybe label Tuesday to their locations. You know how you were talking about labeling close and whatever. Can we figure that out? Because it might be better for us and safer to have our providing the cords, even if we have to raise price or whatever a little bit, or if we have budget for it, to get that in place so we have safe materials.
Yeah, we can do that because we label the iSchool lights by block as well. So we know, which iSchool lights we had in place. So we can definitely do that with the extension cords, no problem.
Okay, let's do that so that we provide the cords, and the people just are supposed to let the the plug-in be at the top of the tree, which is another thing, Janine. There were a couple of trees where they didn't do that.
Yeah,
I saw.
they had their plugins at the bottom instead of the top.
Yes, so we're going to have to work on that. Well, you know, again, we're learning as we go and just trying to make it right. But as far as setting up the trees, Tuesday and Bill, I think the timing was great on that. That gave everybody time to decorate. They look beautiful. Those trees really lasted. It's amazing how fresh they still are even. So I don't think there's any hazard as far as them drying out. And we haven't really had a dry Christmas here since I don't know when, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question? So are we looking to make sure we have 56 outdoor extension cords available then for all the planters? And could we find out how many we have? And then I could check with Brandy on the budget to see how many more we need to purchase.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. I think the majority of the extension cords that are used for down there are basically to get that extension into the receptacle, you know, because it has numeral outlets on it. But I can get with Bill this week. We can go through some totes and definitely figure out what kind of cordage we have for downtown, what we collected. And I'm sure we haven't picked everything up from down there yet either. I'll have to get with Bill on that and see if he got any more extension cords from downtown or what the deal is. But I can definitely get back to Janine on that, yes.
Thank you.
Perfect. Right. And Janine, that will make a difference. I mean, if we're talking
Yeah,
thousands of dollars of cords, you know, whatever.
absolutely. Yep.
Mhm. Okay, well, oopsie. Just a second here. All right. So is that it mostly for the Public Works part? I think we're going to be working on the map, and we'll be working on, Public Works is working on the cords, and we'll try to find some kind of way of numbering.
Okay.
Tuesday, what about numbering on the sidewalks themselves?
Well, I mean, I guess that wouldn't be too bad if you guys wanted to, try and stencil it on the ground with some numbers.
Maybe.
So I can run that by the group and see how they feel about that. Just because it makes it more permanent. No one can really mess with it, or I mean, the street sweeper wouldn't mess with it because it'd be on the actual sidewalk, so it couldn't, come off at all. So that's a pretty good, so I'll take it back to Bill and see what he thinks about that.
Yeah, why don't we explore that?
Okay.
There may be a reason not, I don't know, there may be reasons why that wouldn't work, but perhaps.
Okay.
Great. All right, well, thank you again so much, Public Works. It was beautiful. You did such a great job. I thought that the tree in front of the City Hall was amazing. Janine, how much do we need to budget for that in the future?
I'll find out. Is
Okay.
it for the big tree?
Yeah, you know what? It's clear to me that we should, in the future, buy a tree and have it hauled and set up, right? Public Works, we're not gonna, it doesn't make sense to have all those trees trying to handle that
Yeah.
with breaking branches and people's lives at risk.
Yep.
Mhm. So we'll continue to budget for that.
Yeah, I believe that tree was around 1,500 plus. I'm not quite sure. So,
I think the tree was $750, and then the delivery was extra. So yeah, I think it was about $1,500 for everything.
Okay, we'll find out about that. Okay, great. That artificial trees are really quite expensive, and they have a life of about 5 to 7 years is what we've researched. And so far that still pays off to do the live tree. So did you guys haul it away or did they come and get it?
No, we hauled it away.
Okay. That was a project. Wow.
Yeah, I wasn't there for all that, but I would assume, yeah.
Okay. Great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So for follow-up, I think on the city website, well, Public Works is not as much a part of this, but Sandy, we don't have too many people here, but to see and talk about it. But I think the judging went pretty well, and Janine did a great job of posting the information, so people were able to see who won. And we had prizes that went to the top 3 first place and second place winners. And those were distributed. Did you have any other feedback from that, Janine, at all?
Not really. Yeah, not really. I know we had advertised about, people sending in their pictures for the rocks and the neighborhood photos. And we did receive one photo from somebody, I believe, on Fantail.
Uh-huh.
And they let us know that basically their entire neighborhood was decorated, but that was the only, I should say, outside photo we received, and
Right.
didn't get any of the rocks. But it was a new event. This is the first time we tried it. There was a lot going on everywhere, so it's understandable. But we still got, some fantastic pictures on our website between Fathoms and sent us some great pictures. Crean at the dock sent us, or the Portraiture Market sent us some really good ones, Port of Bremerton. So we got some fun pictures up there.
Good. Yeah, I was going to suggest to the council that we go back to viewing neighborhoods. You just can't capture them in a photo. I know that there were a lot of people who put effort into their places and they didn't send photos, or when I had some photos, it just didn't do justice to how beautiful the displays were because you only capture part of it. So it's really hard to judge from a photo. So I'm hoping that maybe the council or whatever can go back to visiting neighborhoods and, giving awards, because we just weren't able to do that this year. And Fantail is a neighborhood that decorates every year, and they usually win first place because they're fabulous. It's amazing how much they do out there. But I didn't see, there were a lot of places I saw just out and about, and then they didn't have photos. So I would love to go back to, having that contest, or it's a recognition kind of thing. So, all right, let's see. The judging categories. Janine, do you have the notes on what we were talking about? I had them.
I do not. No. Let me see if I can find it in my emails.
Yeah, I've got to look too. I know one of the one problem that we actually had this year is that people sort of assumed that trees were all giving trees. So we had some decorations and items that were taken that weren't on that trees that were giving trees. So the judges did say if there was some way that we could make it known which was a giving tree and which wasn't. Sandy, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Right, and that's something that we can continue to.
Didn't they have, I saw some that had notes that it was a giving tree, but people didn't just assume that the others that didn't have that, they were all giving trees, more giving trees.
This year, quite a lot of
That's
of
true.
ornaments and things were taken. And we do note that no matter what, when you decorate a tree and it's out in public like that, things are going to disappear.
Right.
But we had a little bit more of that this year than we've had in the past. Mm-hmm. But there were a lot of giving trees. I'm trying to think. We probably had 4 to 6 trees where people were welcome to take anything. Mm-hmm. So That might be something that we can work on.
Do they, when they have a giving tree, do they go down and replenish it several times during the?
Yes. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
They'd have to. Mhm.
They did. And
I love the idea of a giving tree.
mhm.
You know, love that idea.
Yeah, that really is very, very cool. You know, another thing too, you guys, I think we should have all the trees lit that have power. Again, there were several trees that weren't. So at night, when you drive down, there's big gaps. It's dark. You can't see what's on the tree.
Mhm.
And there's big gaps that go along. I think that we should actually say that all the trees should be lit. And we'll try to work out the bugaboos of any trees that are on corners that have no power.
Well, and that, isn't that what you were just talking about? When we decorate the tree, have the light plug in at the top so the city can plug it in. So there would be no excuse for them not to be lit if we follow the direct. And they get those directions, they're clear.
Yeah, but we've never made it mandatory to have them lit.
Oh, we haven't. Oh,
No.
that hasn't
No.
worked.
What we do have mandatory is that they use LED lights, that everyone has to use LED lights because of how much power it takes for the incandescent versus the LEDs.
Okay.
We have a very fragile electrical system downtown,
Yeah. Yeah.
to say the least. So I think one of our rules will be that all trees need to be lit that are, along the marquee.
Yeah.
That really makes a difference. And then those 4 corner trees, if there could be something like, Sandy, what you suggest, is that at least one part of it could be lit somehow, some way, or reflective or something. It really does make a difference. And see, we used to be able to power a couple of those trees, but now with the buildings and stuff torn down, we can't.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just something to work on. But that's something I really noticed, where there's no lights on trees. I mean, it's a big black hole. You can't see what's on them, even if it's a giving tree. And I don't think that's too big of a deal for sponsors to light a tree. If it's a giving tree, usually people don't take the lights off so far. The logistics. Oh, dear, dear. Yeah, and you know what? I had those notes for the type of tree. I know that the leader of the judging had some really great ideas about the categories, and I misplaced it. Let's see if I can get my hands on it quickly. Well, I might have to present that at our next month's meeting. I don't know where I put it. And I had it in my notes, and I'm not putting my hand on it right now. But the judging committee did have some ideas about a couple of categories. And I thought they were good ones, and once we find them. And something we did do this year is we were able to give prizes, and it was about $106 total, the prizes, and those funds came from a donation from Kids at Bank, because we are not able to buy prizes with public money, and we don't do that. But for instance, these little certificates were given out, and the prizes were just like planters kind of thing, and then just a thing of candy for the second place. And I think that went over pretty well. People were really thrilled when they heard they had won, and I think some people really were excited about it. Oh, you guys. In one of the planners, they left the rock. Is that cool?
That is cute.
The tree was gone, and they left the rock right where that little, the marker was. I know. I thought, okay, I had seen some other rocks and I didn't take them, but this one, nah, I'm gonna have it for the Chimes and Lights meetings.
That's cute.
Yeah. So that's kind of the scoop. I think things went really quite well. And if we just work out a few of these little things, this is a wonderful tradition to keep doing. I was so happy that all the planters were adopted, because for a while, got a little bit of a slow start. But given the craziness of this year, so pleased that people came through, and it was beautiful. I would love to see us decorating more of the city as part of this event. And I've talked to this about with council members and the mayor. And decorating, say, the roundabouts as you come in on Tremont, having lights there. Rockwell Park was beautiful. Just those sets of lights on those trees. Thought isn't that pretty?
That looked really nice.
Isn't it? Yeah. It adds so much because it's so dark this time of year and all this rain. And everybody's still dealing with so much. There are people who have really tough times with unemployment and such. And I do think that this adds a lot of cheer. So,
Absolutely.
yep. So here we are, little committee.
Sharon texted me. They were driving back from her doctor's appointment and the traffic was terrible. So
Okay.
that's why she's not on.
Okay.
She apologized.
That's fine. And you know what? Next month, we'll still be working on some of these things and we'll have
Right.
some information.
Right. Yeah.
So we're good.
Good.
Yeah. But everybody did such a good job. And I think we just keep working at it. This year, what'll be a little bit tricky is knowing whether or not we can have an event.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, look at where we are now with, we're all being back to phase 1 again. And
Yep.
we have no idea how numbers will be in various regions. Now we're grouped by regions.
Yeah.
So it's not just counties. And so if I were to predict, I would say we probably aren't going to be able to have a gathering event at Christmas time in 2021.
Probably
Because
not.
I bet not, because
the kids, some of the kids started back to school today.
yes.
And the teachers my son's a teacher and I'm a substitute. But it was, the deal is with the teachers, they don't have the vaccine. They want to go back to classes, but there's a lot of them that want the vaccine first. And like last night and this morning, our phone was ringing off the hook for substitutes.
Uh-oh.
And some were long-term substitutes, like 5 days, 2 weeks and on. And so we need to really remember our teachers there, because they're just in a catch-22. They want to be with their kids, but they need to be a priority.
Yeah.
To get vaccines. So
I thought that the teachers were,
they haven't got them. They're hoping maybe by February they get them. And so like the high school and the middle school are supposed to start back the first week of February sometime. So I hope they get the vaccines, because there are teachers that feel, vulnerable, and they have family members that are vulnerable. And my husband and I are not going to go sub either. Because, and that's so sad. I feel so sorry for the lady at the district office. She's going to go nuts trying to find subs. But, we're as vulnerable as anybody else, And I just don't feel comfortable walking in there, and because we haven't had the vaccine yet. We've got all the other vaccines, but not that one.
I think we're all looking forward to that vaccine,
That's crazy.
so that we can just function better.
Yeah. And the thing is, even with the flu vaccine, they want about 70% of the population to get the vaccine. Well, even during flu, we're lucky if we get 40% of the population to get the flu vaccine. So then we're going to have all kinds of some people don't want it.
Right.
But I want it because I
Me
want it.
too. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
Well, and we can see it is really important for teachers.
Oh, yes.
And, of course, all the first responders and the nurses. It's what we're seeing as a nation is that it's hard to distribute.
Yeah.
That is tricky. It's a huge process to distribute the vaccine.
It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming.
Yeah, not the end of the world. And yay, we're all healthy and in
Yep.
good, we've been
But we're just, those of us who still have jobs, still have an income, we're just very blessed.
yes.
And we just need to be mindful of those that aren't so blessed in that way.
Oh, I know. And there are so many people
Yeah.
who are
So many.
unemployed, and the small businesses, it's just hard to work.
That's heartbreaking. The small businesses is just heartbreaking. Did you see that? They published a list of all the businesses that going out, and it was just like, whoa.
Sandy, where'd you see that list?
Social media somewhere, but it was an article and I've seen it 2 or 3 times. So you probably could Google it.
Okay. Oh, you mean nationwide, right? Are you doing,
Yes.
is it nationwide? Okay.
No,
Yeah.
no, there was a local one too.
Was
It
there?
had, there were the list I saw, and I wish I could pull it up. I'll try to find it.
Okay.
It was the Bremerton, Port Orchard, Silverdale. It had the different our little towns on it.
Sandy, I'd really like to see that. I think that would
Me
be
too, yeah.
valuable for the council.
Yeah, I'll see if I can find it.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah.
And Janine, you did a marvelous job with
Now, Janine, you're amazing.
Oh, thank you.
all of the website, the postings,
Uh-huh.
being so flexible and getting things up, and links, seriously, rock star over there. You did a
Yeah.
great job.
And besides, you have gorgeous
Thank
hair.
you.
Yeah. I know.
What was that?
You have gorgeous hair.
Oh God, thank you.
Those of us who have this straight stuff wish we had curls.
Pretty. It's so pretty.
My poop.
Yeah. So thank you so much, for being so flexible and for rolling with the punches and making it work.
Well, and
That website looks so good. And you know what? People really made use of that.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah. Just checking out what trees were available, who had them. It was so up to date, so quick. Man, we'd say something and I'd look and it was all done. So good job. Really, thank you so much.
You're very good. Thank you.
Yeah,
I enjoy it. I enjoy it.
well, it really shows. And, I think what I do see though is that photos are maybe, our photo area are kind of small to really get an idea.
I agree.
It's probably a template. So everything's kind of small, hard to see and appreciate. And another thing, you guys, we really need to maybe budget some money again. We did it back in the day. I can't think of how long ago, maybe 2012, where we get a professional photographer or we use the drone to really capture some wonderful photos at night. Because, they're hard to take, like on an iPhone. They're pretty mediocre. But if we could get some really good photos, some of the boats on the water that we had here, beautiful. And the Port of Bremerton, oh my, that was a gorgeous display. Cars were going by there all the time. That was so beautiful. So it would be nice to have some of those images on our website. It really would be great. I think we've really done a great job, but I think those are the kinds of things that we can work on in the future if we've got the funds. And I have no idea.
Yeah, and I'll check with Brandy on the budget on what we have available, and I'll have that ready for the February
Okay,
meeting.
cool. Including, once Public Works starts giving us some of those numbers, what it's going to cost. Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think that's a really good start. Very successful. I'm so happy with everything. And we will work on a few little rules in our, guidelines. I'm going to call them guidelines. So
Yeah.
that it's a little clearer about,
Sure.
and Janine, we might want to just ask, I even told this to the mayor, we might want to ask just about some liabilities. If people were to take their own trees out, unplugging and stuff, can we just double check that we're totally fine? with that happening? Or do we need to get involved with a procedure or policy or guidelines
Okay.
about how that's done? And I
Yep.
do understand that it's certainly going to save Public Works, but we're not always motivated by saving work if it's liabilities, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to be weird.
Nope, understood. Yep.
Okay, all right.
We'll find out and I'll, yeah, report at the next meeting as well.
Okay, cool. And I'm sure that there will be more people back at the next meeting. And I'm just hoping some of our businesses stay
And
in
the
business.
next meeting is the February what? Did you say?
It'll go back to that third Monday.
We are closed. So the third Monday is the 15th for President's Day and we are closed on that day.
Yeah, we had that happen before. Okay, this time we'll push it later.
Okay.
I'll be traveling earlier, so the 22nd, let's push it to the 22nd then,
Okay.
because of that closure on President's Day. That work for you, Janine?
Perfect. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Sounds
Thank
good.
you
Thank
so
you.
much, you guys.
Thank you both for all your work. You two seem to get the bulk of all the work. We just kind of give our ideas.
Yeah, but that's a lot. Yeah.
Thank you so
I
much.
enjoy this committee. I really
Yes.
do.
Thank you. I do
Thank
too.
you very
I
much.
enjoy it, and it's good. It's good. Thank you for making me a part.
Yes. Well, thank you, and see you, if not sooner, in a month. Janine, I'll
All right.
see you in a few days.
Sounds good. All right. Thanks, guys. See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.